Are you interested in maining NG? Do you mindlessly follow the meta? Are you having issues keeping both yourself and your buildings alive at the same time? If you said yes to any of my inquiries, I have the guide for you. How yin's doing? I'm Ian, and this is my TF2 How to Kill Streak series, where we cover the best and worst TF2 has on offer and I show you how to get a kill streak with it. Because everything is a bad idea until it works. Today, we shall be covering the Rescue Ranger, so without further ado, let's get into it. The Rescue Ranger is a primary weapon for the Engineer, added back in the Mecha update right about the same time my older brother first introduced me to this game, and can be crafted by combining 3 Eureka effects with a reclaimed metal. The weapon, not my brother. However, like always, I recommend either trading or waiting for a random drop if you wish to acquire this thing for yourself. As for what this thing does, it fires repair bolts that can heal Engineer buildings, both yours and your teammates, as well as allowing you to spend 100 metal to recall your buildings back into your arms, making this an excellent tool for players looking to save their level 3 sentry or any building really from otherwise certain destruction. The downsides to this are that when you're hulling buildings you are marked for death, your clip size and ammo capacity are inferior to your other primary options, you spend 100 metal when you try to recall your buildings back into your arms, and when you do recall buildings back into your arms with your alt fire, a beam of light will give away your position since there's effectively a giant glowing highlight between you and the building you're sending back into your arms, which means experienced players who know what this weapon does will realize that, hey, there's a marked for death Engineer hauling a level 3 sentry over there, let's try to kill him. So bear in mind that while this gun is great at keeping your buildings alive, it's not doing any favors at keeping you yourself alive. Also remember that the healing you do with this gun is going to require more metal relative to the amount of healing you'll do to your buildings than if you simply smacked it with your wrench. Also, please bear in mind this weapon is incapable of removing sappers, restoring ammo on sentries, nor can it upgrade buildings in any capacity, so be mindful of that as you plan out your sentry nest. This is a tool to reduce the time you spend smacking your buildings with a wrench. It does not eliminate the need entirely. As for getting a kill streak with this weapon directly, whilst the raw damage is inferior to the shotguns you can equip as Engineer, this weapon is still superior in terms of raw damage to the Thompson, since the projectile you fire is going to be moving much faster than the slow-ass little laser bubble you have. I mean, seriously, the projectile on the Thompson moves so slowly, the only times I've seen anyone get hit by the damn thing is at point-blank range or in narrow tunnels and hallways where no one has room to sidestep anything. Meanwhile, the projectile on a Rescue Ranger is relatively fast and can allow you to reliably hit targets from long range. Just don't go trying to beat a sniper at their own game. So while it is realistically possible to get kills against other players directly with this gun, you're better off using your sentry primarily, and using this tool as something to help you be more aggressive with your sentry placement, since you no longer have to worry about being killed as you run over to it with a wrench. In fact, on certain maps, it's entirely possible to repair your sentry from inside of spawn. This is also an excellent tool for those of you who want to go ninjaneering with the Wrangler. If you decide to go ninjaneering in this fashion, I recommend building a teleporter exit next to your sentry whilst using the Eureka effect, since this will effectively allow you to teleport between spawn and your unusual nest location. I advise against building a teleporter entrance if you decide to do this, since your teammates will give away your location and make an effective counterattack from opposition come sooner than what otherwise might be possible, since if you have a teleporter entrance they can use, they can just send a single spy. Whilst if you don't have a teleporter entrance or teammates giving away your position, it'll be a lot harder for a group of players to counter what you're doing. When it comes to getting a kill streak with this gun, metal management and building placement is paramount, and I recommend looking up Uncle Dane for the fine minutiae of these 101 basics of playing Engineer. I recommend looking up Uncle Dane because, frankly speaking, there is nothing I can teach you about the fundamentals of Engineer that he has not already covered in far greater detail than I ever could. And watching his videos here on YouTube is basically a rite of passage for anyone looking to become an Engineer main. However, since Uncle Dane's videos tend to focus more on being an effective teammate and helping your team win the game and not getting a kill streak, I do have some things to add that can be helpful for the purposes of what we're trying to do here. Firstly, remember that the Rescue Ranger is a tool that effectively extends the range you can afford to be from your buildings. It does not eliminate the need to be near them altogether. In a normal game of Team Fortress 2, you're going to get the majority of your kills as Engineer through your sentry, and your ability to stay alive is going to be based primarily on dispenser placement and your ability to avoid sightlines. When you're playing Engineer trying to get kills with your buildings, your goal is not to be the front line. Your goal is to be the backline that punishes overconfident players. So place your buildings down in accordance to these ideas. And since the Rescue Ranger allows you to repair buildings from a great distance, you can be far more aggressive with where you place your buildings down, since you no longer have to worry about whether or not you can run across sight lines in order to repair your buildings. Just bear in mind that sentries have a finite ammo pool, and that the Rescue Ranger is completely useless at dealing with sappers. So when deciding where to place your sentry, make sure you're actually able to hit it with a wrench in case something goes wrong. Also bear in mind that while this weapon is great at keeping your buildings alive, it's not so great at keeping you alive or helping you build up those buildings in the first place. Because remember, when you're hulling a building around, you are marked for death if you have this weapon equipped. As a result, you'll be taking extra damage whenever someone shoots at you whenever you're adjusting your building placement. Naturally, this makes the logistics of setting up your sentry nest in the first place trickier than normal. The most common tactic used to overcome this issue, however, is to simply build your stuff up in front of spawn till it's all level 3, and then use the alt fire to swiftly translate your stuff into the position you want it to be in, making this a must-have weapon for anyone who wants to play engineer on payload offense but doesn't want to use the gunslinger. Just bear in mind that while this isn't necessarily a bad idea by any stretch of the imagination, it's far from foolproof, since this is a game where men launch themselves through the air via rocket launchers and one-shot people with a shovel before hitting the ground. So yeah, no matter what you plan, realize that there is a very real possibility someone's going to do something so stupid it wraps around to being genius and hard countering whatever you're trying to do. All in all, I give the Rescue Ranger a not what I was planning, but that works too out of 10. This is not a weapon you equip with the explicit goal of getting a kill streak. This is the gun you use when you want to help your team with your buildings as much as possible as an engineer, and then you accidentally end up with the highest KDA ratio because you are in a backline never getting killed, and there was that one scout on the enemy team who kept getting killed by your sentry. By all accounts, this is an amazing weapon. Just don't expect it to be a thing that you're usually getting the majority of your kills with. That's all for now. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one, comment what weapons you want to see me cover in the future. I've been Ian, you have been you, and this has been my TF2 How to Kill Streak guide to the Rescue Ranger. And stay tuned, the airstrike is coming up next.